The heart of every organization is its people. We're taking action to take care of them, to develop a world-class team, now and into the future. This is Empowering Excellence with Art and Frankie.
Welcome back for another episode of Empowering Excellence. I am your host, Art Starrett, here with my vivacious co-host, Frankie Ramos.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that.
Now,
it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. It seems like it's been a while.
I missed the last one.
That's why it
me.
seems like it's been a while.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the podcast always wins awards when Jen fills in for one of us.
I know.
So I'm expecting another award on that last one.
Yeah, well, that's good. Hey, NavWar wins, so that's the important part.
So what are we talking about today?
We are going to talk about data science. And my favorite part, and I'm totally a newbie, so I only partially scratched the surface, but we're going to talk about data science. And I think we're even going to get to learn a little bit more about artificial intelligence and how we use it here at NavWar.
All right. I am already riveted by that because artificial intelligence is helping me become more efficient.
Right? That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, well, we have fewer people than we did a few months ago, so we definitely got to work on that whole efficiency thing.
We only have this many peoples, like Jen says. We only have this many monies. We only have this many peoples.
Exactly. All right, so today we are pleased, very pleased to have as our guest another member of the corporate ops team and the leader of NavWar Data Science and Artificial Intelligence. Mr. David Byers. David, how are you doing?
Good. Great to be here.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. So tell us a little bit about what you do here at NavWar. Let's start there. Give us the 101 on David Byers.
So I get the privilege to work with a really talented team, data scientists, who serve as instructors for what we call the Data Science Learning Program. Mm-hmm. And we've been at this for about 5 years, coming up in 5 years. And, you know, it all started back with literally a single conversation with our executive director, who observed that we didn't have any sort of organized form of this training for the workforce. So we started 5 years ago with a single class, Data Science Fundamentals, that we continue to offer. But we've grown quite a lot since then.
What was the goal of it?
That conversation was coincident with UCSD launching what they called their Halegiolu Data Science Institute, which was a singular event. But part of that was them, you know, academia realizing, and corporate America for the most part realizing that, you know, data science is sort of this little bit stovepipe niche. Data is so valuable, has so much potential business value. So what you see here at NavWar is that realization kind of spilling over to our mission areas.
How did you collaborate or engage with UCSD?
So that effort started as kind of a series of pilots. So we thought, you know, before we got to teaching data science, we ought to try to do it. And so we had a series of pilots, mostly around ship readiness, manning and training factors. But we pretty quickly pivoted to general workforce training because we realized it's great to do data science, but that's a very narrow impact. Let's go after it with the workforce and, you know, turn everybody sort of into data scientist citizens to the extent that we can.
Now, Frankie, you're a graduate of data science fundamentals, aren't you?
I am, actually. But, man, somebody really had to twist my arm to get me to take that because data science equals math in my head, and math and I do not get along. Numbers, that's why I'm in the people business, not the numbers business. But yes, I took what I now call the intro courses, data science fundamentals. I think at one point there was something about becoming a data citizen. And so I took those, and now I have graduated and grown up a little bit because now I am like, what offerings do we have on how to use artificial intelligence and how can I use it to make my job easier and get my job done faster?
You are a people person, that is true. But I think you've put that, your data science classes to excellent use as part of the HR team.
I have. So you mentioned the origin of it was you were looking at ship readiness and how you mentioned, you know, let's offer it to the wider workforce. Not everybody's in the business of ship readiness. I mean, I am in the people business, the way we support that. But really my day-to-day is how do I, you know, help manage the human capital of NavWar?
Yep.
And so taking these classes and looking at how we can leverage the use of artificial intelligence, AI, and telling our leaders a story, whether it's survey results, whether it's comments left on, town halls and all hands. The team and I have really started to dig and say, we have so much data from this survey. How do we quickly bucket it into actionable initiatives that will mean something to the workforce, or that will drive us, the organization, to reach those strategic goals? So you're right. We are using it, and I love that we have it here. I've become smarter just joining this command. I think I've almost been here 7 years. Can you believe it? You've been here longer than me.
Just a month or two.
But yeah, 7 years, and I've become so much more tech savvy, just smarter in the use of data and how to do data visualization, because that's also not my forte. But you guys have offered trainings that have really helped support me in getting smarter in that arena to do my job better.
You've told the story better than I possibly could. I mean, we think, quantitative data, but you're talking about natural language, textual data and surveys and feedback. And that's called natural language processing, kind of a geeky term. But, that is just as important and just as much a part of data science is. I've got all this textual data. I've got, casualty reports. I've got employee feedback, right? You name it. I've got, trouble tickets with, narratives embedded within them. And how do you tease out the really useful, actionable information out of that?
As you pointed out, Frankie just gave a great example of how the workforce has latched on to the data science curriculum and then taken that and turned it into something actionable that has really improved our human resources, our ability to make decisions, our ability to find information that we need. That, Frankie used to get 100 phone calls, and now people can go to the Human Capital Center and get answers for themselves. And Frankie can keep doing her job. So maybe talk a little bit about some other examples within the workforce of how the data science curriculum has been put to use to improve quality of work life, maybe efficiency of our work. And then maybe after that, we'll talk a little bit about how we're evolving into the future.
Well, I would kind of bring up a couple things. One is the last thing you touched on, which is, again, it's kind of a geeky term, but data visualization. But storytelling with data, right? In every 100%. Set of data that we present, sometimes artfully, sometimes really horrifically, but there's a story in there, right? And so part of it's connected to data science, because after you do all the analysis, you then have to kind of explain that, communicate that, often to a non-technical audience. So data visualization, that set of techniques, best practices, that's very much a part of what we offer too. And I think in some ways that's kind of that last mile of data science, right? You can do all the best analytics in the world. If you can't effectively communicate that to decision makers to make it actionable, well, then you really haven't yielded all of the benefit out of the work you've done. The second part is kind of this idea that organizations are trying to climb this maturity curve in a way with their use of data as an incredibly valuable asset. So, we talk about going from an organization that does descriptive analytics to diagnostic. Okay. So help desk tickets, somebody's running a help desk. We'll be looking at, you'll see charts and, the number of help desk tickets, and you'll see a trend line. Are they increasing, decreasing? You'll take it to the next layer, diagnostic. You'll say, well, what are the top 5 systems that are causing tickets, right? Yes. So you're starting to kind of slice your data a little bit. But where you're trying to get to is predictive analytics and then ultimately prescriptive. You want to know, what is this data telling me and what should I do about that? So when you cross that line into predictive analytics, then I'd say you've entered the realm of data science, because you're talking about developing a predictive model. So taking your data to train a model and have that model in turn, you give it new data. So you're forecasting the future. I'm taking current data coming in from somewhere, and I want to do a prediction. Am I going to have to take some action? Am I going to cross some threshold where I'm going to have to make a decision? I want to get ahead of kind of my own data story, right? So that's kind of the data science sort of life cycle. And I think every organization to some extent is trying to climb that maturity curve and figure out how to employ these techniques to get the most out of their own data, because it really is the resource.
I think another important thing, I I didn't want to interrupt you, but when you started your first point,
Yeah.
it popped into my head. So we have all this data, we have the ability to analyze it, do data visualization. I think something that's, for me, that I've seen with the evolution of the data science learning program at NAVWAR since I've been here is things within NAVWAR, things external to NAVWAR, everything in the world is evolving so quickly.
Yeah. Yes.
The rate of change is, I think it's the highest rate now than it was even 5 years ago. And so one of the things I like about the data science is data drives decisions, but it's also important, like, how quickly can we get the data? Because do we need to make a decision right now? Or do we have 30, 60 days to make a decision? Do we need to make an interim decision? And then we can adjust moving down the line.
Yeah.
These are all things that honestly are, like when I came here, I was just an HR person. And then now when I got here and I got some more of this training that's really what I consider somewhat to be outside of the HR umbrella, that's where I'm seeing the growth for my team in our office and how we support the command is our ability to do things much more quickly than if it were just me looking at 500 narrative comments and I'd have to be like, well, this is the bucket of quality of work life. This is the bucket of, staffing, where I can have AI quickly pull out the themes or what are the concerns and then build out what are we going to do about it. So I think having the data available to us and being able to rapidly process how quickly we're going to make changes or what we're going to do with it is important.
We're going to change Frankie's position description to Director of HR/HR Data Scientist.
See, I'll be the
Love
champion.
it.
See, you
Love
can become a data person.
Love it.
So David, data science learning continuum.
Yep.
Is just for NAVWAR employees or?
What's interesting is in the intervening 5 years, we still have a somewhat unique offering across the Navy and actually DOD. So we do get a lot of students from the other acquisition commands.
That's
so
great.
NAVAIR, NAVC, huge interest. It continues to this day. We don't have a lock on great ideas, right? I mean, they come from anywhere. And some of the best responses, some of the best students come from across the Navy. It's interesting. You can't predict that very easily.
And so I understand that we have recently reached a milestone in the number of students who have gone through.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so back in July, we hit 10,000 student sessions of training delivered, 10,000.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, just 5 years ago, would have never imagined something that seemed kind of niche, a little bit opaque, would have tried. But, in 2022, when OpenAI dropped this little bomb on us that became ChatGPT, I think that really was a turning point. You look at the growth rate, and that was huge. Suddenly, everybody using it for their recipes or coming up with their Christmas cards.
What are you using ChatGPT for?
Have you read your performance review yet?
I knew it. No, I can't get mad at you. I'm using it too. That helps you do your job faster.
So, Frankie, this isn't just a one NAVWAR thing. This is a one Navy thing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we need going forward.
Look what you started, David.
Who knew?
Look what you've got us into.
Who knew back then when it was just the idea? And it's grown a lot. That's 10,000 students, and that's a pretty big deal. So congratulations to you and your team.
Yeah, to
that's
the team,
awesome.
What's the next step in this evolution?
So my own personal observation on kind of where this might be going. So, there's sort of three kind of spheres or domains here, I think. So there's the personal domain. I'm an individual worker. Sure, I'm part of a team, but I'm using AI personally, individually, to increase my own productivity, right? So I've got to do some task. Probably it's language-based, right? And so I'm using a chatbot. It's great for that, right? I sort of give it a hint, tell it what I want, give it a little bit of guidance, and I'm off and running, right? I mean, even if I don't use the output verbatim, that's okay, right? It might be that creative spark I need to get me going. So personal productivity. Then you kind of go beyond that, and I'm calling it domain-specific AI, but it's a little bit broader in scope and reach. And that is, we're seeing a lot of the idea of having these AI-powered chatbots in very specific mission areas. Okay, so we've got help desks, but we want to put a chatbot kind of on the front end of some sort of help desk process, maybe, right? Because if I can have somebody help themselves, well, that's That's the best kind of incident, right? Result cell.
Yeah.
And the trick there is we're using certain techniques. I don't want to turn this into a data science lesson, but retrieval augmented generation, RAG, you'll hear that term.
Yeah.
But the idea is you take a very capable language model and you make it aware of your own very domain, mission-specific information. So you've got this great model that can interact with people in a very natural way, but it also knows about your information and it can act on that. So we're seeing kind of a lot of interest in that area. Ultimately, there's this thing called agentic AI, this idea that AI serves as a kind of an orchestrator almost. So you give it a high-level goal, right? So this could be onboarding new employees, a bit of a stretch, but it could be onboarding new employees. So I give it a high-level goal, and it develops the task plan, if you will, the work plan. But it's autonomous. It can interact with our systems to go accomplish, to move us toward that high-level goal with human supervision. But think, these low value add processes we're essentially trying to automate. Well, some people say that sounds a lot like robotic process automation. But, keep in mind, RPA has been with us. That's very rules-based. It's very tightly coupled to the way our business processes work. We're talking about something that's much more flexible and capable.
Dynamic.
It can do reasoning. It can respond to a changing environment. I mean, that's sort of, we're trying to get there. We're not there yet. But that's kind of, I think, if we can achieve that, that's where the kind of productivity gains and making up for some of our personnel losses. I think that's where we'll recover some ground.
From a curriculum perspective, though, what does that look like? So we've still got our data science classes.
Yep.
But we're now, and we've already stood up some AI classes.
Yes.
And then what's the next step from a curriculum perspective?
Thinking about that first sphere, personal use of AI. So we've got an AI fundamentals course we introduced almost 2 years ago, kind of about the time that ChatGPT was appearing on the market. We've got a class called prompt engineering.
Yes.
Which that's a horrible, data science really needs better marketing, I think. We don't have a marketing department.
Because when I signed up for that, I was like, I'm not really sure what this is.
What the heck is prompt engineering?
When I sat in that class, I learned so much. Yeah. I'm not kidding. And I quickly told my team, like, hey, I'll give you the slides, but you really should take the class. But there's some valuable stuff in here.
Yeah. There are ways to structure or craft a prompt with a language model to get the best results out of it. So, how do you do that? So that's kind of in the personal sphere. In the more advanced applications we talked about, so we're talking about an AI boot camp, right? Somebody has...
Sweet. I need a boot camp. I do.
A boot camp. Okay. So minus the obstacle course and all the, the less pleasant stuff. So AI boot camp. But something that if it doesn't, the minimum job is sort of educate and show what's possible. So maybe we demonstrate what agentic AI looks like. But then and maybe show some of it in action, right? Give examples, best practices. But really more, it's preparing people to how would you use that? How would you implement it? How would you manage it? What can it do? What can it not do so well? Really becoming, more sophisticated users and potential deployers of these techniques. I think that's what we're going for. So we will stay tuned. We're working on that. We're working on that now.
I think the workforce will be really excited about that.
Anything that you can give me knowledge drop to help me do better at my job, I'm all about it. Because you're right, we're not getting more people. So how are we going to do more with what we've got?
These models, in the beginning, they were kind of language-based mostly.
Yeah.
And then there were kind of separate models for like text-to-image, the so-called diffusion models and all that. But now, there's, even within the last year or so, multimodal models. So these are models that you can give a text prompt and get a diagram back as a response.
Love that.
Multimodal. Yeah. Very capable.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about all the greatness of data science and AI. Tell me what some of the pitfalls are. Things that because it's part of the training too. At least in the prompt engineering I took.
Well, so in data science in general, I would say expectations, knowing where those techniques can be applied. I think in the more specific realm of AI, there's, avoid the perception that AI is some sort of cure-all and you just sort of throw your problem at AI and something magical happens. I mean, unfortunately, we're not quite there yet, right? General intelligence. I mean, it takes some effort, investment into the use of AI, I think, to get the best reward back. So unrealistic expectations.
Completely agree with that. And, Frankie is the, director of HR. do you foresee someday, from a skill set perspective, new employees coming into an environment like NAVWAR, which we like to call ourselves the geek squad of the Navy, where that would almost be like a mandatory qualification to have some understanding of data science and AI?
Yeah, I think so. I think at least a basic knowledge. I mean, I am not the smartest on my team, but we've solved some pretty heavy problems recently, and my team used AI to teach them how to write a prompt to do some kind of naming convention. I'm totally butchering what it was, but it was a big feat because we had like 3,200 PDs that we had to rename.
Wow.
And we couldn't go through 3,200 in 48 hours. So she was self-taught through AI, and this is just a regular HR person, meaning we don't have the background in engineering or computer science or anything. So really, I am now the face of anybody can actually learn it. And you're right, I was totally intimidated because I'm like, engineering, math, like, nah, not my deal.
Right.
But I'm glad that I was like, well, I'll sit in this anyway, be a good team player.
Yeah.
And here we are, doing good things.
This is why I keep Frankie on speed dial.
No, not like that, boss. Give me your mouse. I'll do it.
Yeah, she kicks me out of my chair. So, David, what is there that we haven't asked you about that you would like to message to the NAVWAR workforce or a future NAV warrior?
Take the training. It's a powerful set of techniques, capabilities to add to your own personal toolbox, and you kind of owe it to yourself, right? I mean, you're trying to enhance your own professional skills, your own capabilities. It's a powerful tool, add it to your toolbox. It doesn't matter where you end up or where you might go, you'll carry it with you. It's knowledge you'll keep. And, you owe it to, my message would be, pay yourself back. It's great training, doesn't cost you anything except the investment of your time. Take advantage of it.
It's a good investment. Well
I think
invested time. A little surprise. HR has created our idea for our Halloween theme costume. And guess what we used to help us pick it out? We used AI. So we are going to be Care Bears, but we're going to be HR Care Bears. So we're going to be like SharePoint Bear and, I don't know, maybe DRP Bear, maybe mandatory training bear. So we have a whole little thing, all because we're like, create us a Care Bear theme costume with HR, and then it threw out pictures and everything.
We're going to see Art Starrett in a Care Bear costume?
Totally.
Wow.
Yes.
Sign me up. Tell me when and where.
You just never know where this podcast is going to go.
We'll call you AI Bear, boss.
Well, all right.
AI Bear.
All right. TBD, Frankie.
Okay.
TBD.
Well, you were Bumblebee last time.
Yeah. Jen does like to make me dress up. So, David, awesome having you here today.
Thank you.
Learning about data science and AI and where we're going for the workforce, for the benefit of the workforce.
Appreciate it.
It was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
And to my co-host, Frankie, my vivacious co-host, Frankie, we need, once we go offline here, we need to talk about this Care Bear thing.
All right. I already got you, boss. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. And to everybody else, thank you for joining us again for another episode of Empowering Excellence. We will see you soon for another episode. Take care. Empowering Excellence with Art and Frankie is a production of the NAVWAR Headquarters Public Affairs Office in association with NAVWAR Corporate Operations. Our podcast production team includes Ed Disco Buckleton, Kara McDermott, and Ramon Go, our digital media specialist, who produced today's show. On behalf of Frankie and myself, I am Art Starrett. Have a great Navy day.